I'm Mirza Salman Beg, and today we are going to discuss about kinetic properties of colloids. So there are different kinetic properties associated with colloids: Brownian motion, diffusion, osmotic pressure, sedimentation, viscosity. Brownian motion: the zigzag movement of colloidal particles continuously and randomly. It is known as the Brownian motion. This Brownian motion arises due to uneven distribution of collisions between the colloidal particles and solvent molecules. Brownian moment is more rapid for smaller particles. Certain minimum critical particle size is necessary to exhibit Brownian motion. If particles are less than 0.5 micrometer, then they can show Brownian motion. Brownian motion decreases with increase in the viscosity of the medium. Let us try to illustrate Brownian motion. Suppose a colloidal particle is suspended in dispersion medium. If it is moving in one direction, it undergoes collision with dispersion medium molecule, and this collision changes its path of motion. Suddenly it starts moving in other direction. Again it come across the collision with the solvent molecule. Again its path changes. Again collision. Again its path changes. So this zigzag motion associated with the colloidal particle is known as Brownian motion. The Brownian motion exhibit by small colloidal particles, generally having particle size less than 500 nanometer. Diffusion: particles diffuse spontaneously from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration until the concentration of system is uniform throughout. Diffusion is direct result of Brownian motion. Let us try to illustrate this. Suppose in a container a concentrated colloidal dispersion is kept in section A, and it is separated by a membrane, and in section B there is only a solvent or dispersion medium is present. After some time, because of diffusion, some of the colloidal particles move from section A to section B. This diffusion process continues until the concentration in both the sections become equal and the system is said to be at equilibrium. This diffusion is governed by the Fick's law of diffusion. The amount of substance diffusing in time dt across a plane area S is directly proportional to the concentration gradient dc by dx, whereas d is diffusion coefficient. Now the amount diffusing dq is equal to minus ds into dc by dx into dt. This is known as Fick's first law of diffusion. The major diffusion coefficient can be used to determine a radius of particles or molecular weight of the particle. Why do we say molecular weight? Sometimes the large molecules like polymer or protein, when they are added to the solvent, they are present in colloidal form. A single molecule can become a colloidal particle. The next equation related to diffusion is Sutherland and Einstein equation or Stokes and Einstein equation. Capital D is equal to RT divided by 6 pi eta Rn. This equation gives the correlation between the diffusion coefficient and radius of colloidal particle. D is diffusion coefficient, R is gas constant, T is absolute temperature in Kelvin, eta is the viscosity of medium, R is the radius of spherical particle or colloidal particle, N is Avogadro's number. If diffusion property of colloidal dispersion is known experimentally, if colloidal particles are assumed to be spherical in nature, the equation can be used to find the radius of colloidal particle. So the basic assumption is the colloidal particle must be in spherical shape. So this equation can be used to find out the radius of colloidal particle through the diffusion data. Osmotic pressure. Van 't Hoff equation can be used to determine molecular weight of colloid in dilute solution. Although Van 't Hoff equation is equal to pi is equal to CRT, now we will start with the modified version of the Van 't Hoff equation. Pi by Cg is equal to RT by M, whereas pi is equal to osmotic pressure, Cg is the gram of solute per liter of solution. Here solute means internal phase, the material of colloidal particles, and solution refer to the dispersion medium. M stands for the molecular weight. Now the plot of pi by Cg against the Cg result in one of the three plots. All of the three plots are straight line. Equation for line 2 and 3 is pi by Cg is equal to RT in bracket 1 by M plus BCg, whereas B is the constant which depend upon solute solvent interaction. For line 1, the B is 0, that's why BCg term is eliminated from the equation. Plot 1 is ideal condition. Plot 2 and 3 are the real condition of any system. The slope of line 2 and 3 is B, which is known as the interaction constant. For line 1, the slope is 0. The line 3 indicate a good slope, which means there is a good solute solvent interaction. The y-intercept of the line, when extrapolated, it gives RT by M. So experimentally we can use the equation to determine the molecular weight through the osmotic data. Sedimentation. Stokes' law is used to study the sedimentation. V is equal to 2R square in bracket rho minus rho 0 bracket complete into G divided by 9 eta 0, whereas V is equal to sedimentation velocity in centimeter per second. D is equal to diameter of particle. Rho is the density of dispersed phase. Rho 0 density of dispersion medium. G is equal to acceleration due to gravity. Eta 0 is the viscosity of dispersion medium. The equation gives the correlation between rate of sedimentation and different factors like radius of particle, densities of dispersion phase and dispersion medium. Sedimentation normally occurs because of the gravitational force when the particles suspended in dispersion settle down under the influence of the gravitational force. Now, this gravitational force is not sufficient to settle down the colloidal particles. Hence, we can replace this gravitational force with the centrifugal force. For doing this, we can use the ultracentrifuge technique. Now, how this sedimentation occur under the centrifuge? Let us have an illustration. Here we can see the particles settle down under the influence of centrifugal force. Now let us suppose we are adding some solvent in the test tube. We have added the sample containing different size colloidal particles at the top of the solvent. Now after centrifugation, we have added this test tube in the ultracentrifuge and rotated at a very high speed. Now what we observe finally is that the various components get separated in different regions of the test tube, and the different factors that are responsible for position of particles are the shape, size and density of particles. In centrifuge, acceleration due to gravity is replaced by omega square x, where omega is angular velocity, x is the distance of particle from center of rotation, and v or rate of sedimentation can be denoted by dx by dt is equal to 2r square in bracket rho minus rho 0 bracket complete omega square x divided by 9 eta 0. The speed of rotation can be expressed in rpm. Here the g is replaced with the omega square x, means acceleration due to gravity is replaced with the centrifugal force. The instantaneous velocity of particle is expressed by the Wedberg sedimentation coefficient S. Now this S is given by dx by dt upon omega square x. Now by integrating above equation, if particle moves from x1 at a time t1, now how this technique basically works, let us have an illustration. Now we know that in ultracentrifuge, the different size particles or different densities particles get separated into the different region in test tube. Now UV light is passed through the test tube, which is ultimately fall on the mirror and it is detected by the detector. Now we know that the different layers are generated in the test tube. Suppose there are two types of the particles present in the colloidal dispersion. Now we get the two layers. The graph represent it in two distinct peaks. So here is the top peak. This is the peak for the particle settled at the bottom. So this Clairaut pattern, it gives how many types of the particles are present in the given sample. Now the molecular weight of the particles can be determined using this formula. M is equal to RTS divided by D in bracket 1 minus V rho 0, where M stands for the molecular weight, T is absolute temperature, V bar is partial specific volume, rho 0 is the density of solvent, S and D can be determined from diffusion data. Now, sedimentation also helps to know the degree of homogeneity of the sample, how homogeneous or how much heterogeneous the sample is. If all the particles are of same size and shape, we say that the sample is homogeneous. If some particles are larger in size, other particles are smaller in size, we say that the sample is heterogeneous. Now, after knowing the Wedberg sedimentation coefficient S, diffusion data D, the molecular weight of the polymer can be determined using this equation. Now, viscosity. We know that viscosity is the resistance to the flow of fluid under the applied stress. If the liquid is more viscous, it needs a greater force to make it flow. The viscosity of colloidal dispersion is affected by the shape of particles present in the dispersed phase. If all the particles are spherical in shape, then the dispersion have the low viscosity. If the particles are linear in shape, then the dispersion is viscous. Einstein developed an equation based on hydrodynamic theory of flow, which is applicable to the dilute colloidal dispersion. Eta is equal to eta 0 in bracket 1 plus 2.5 phi, whereas eta 0 is the viscosity of dispersion medium. Eta is equal to viscosity of dispersion system when volume fraction of colloidal particles is phi. Volume fraction is equal to volume of particle divided by total volume of dispersion. Eta and eta 0 can be determined using capillary viscometer. Now, the relative viscosity is equal to eta divided by eta 0. We know that eta is the viscosity of dispersion divided by eta 0, it is the viscosity of dispersion medium. It is equal to 1 plus 2.5 phi. Now we can rearrange it to get eta specific or specific viscosity. It is equal to eta by eta 0 minus 1 is equal to 2.5 phi. Eta specific divided by 5 is equal to 2.5. Now, volume fraction is directly related to the concentration. Hence, we can replace phi with the concentration of the internal phase added in the dispersion. Eta specific by C is equal to K, whereas C is expressed in gram per 100 ml. But for highly polymeric material at different concentration, we have the different equation. Eta specific divided by C is equal to K plus K2C plus K3C square. If eta specific
by
is
C
plotted against C, we get a straight line with certain slope. Now, if the graph is extrapolated to infinite dilution where C is up to 0, then the intercept of the graph on y-axis gives the intrinsic viscosity. Now, this intrinsic viscosity can be expressed using the Mark-Howing equation. Intrinsic viscosity eta in square bracket is equal to K m to the power A. Eta in square bracket is equal to intrinsic viscosity. K and A are the constant for polymer system. M is the molecular weight of polymer. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and share.